This is Postpartum Anxiety Blogging Chapter 3. Hi, I'm Gabrielle Ruiz. I am an actor, arts educator, and first-time working mom, and I, with a deep breath, just finished a workout. I definitely was stressed about keeping my body and as a part of my identity of who I am, not only as like a woman, but as a professional athlete. I am a dancer first. I have performed on Broadway shows for almost 10 years, and a musical show brought me out to Los Angeles. My body is my work, literally, quite literally. And the first time I got pregnant before Mercedes, I had a miscarriage, and I had a lot of that crisis emotionally tear me up, knowing that my body was going to change. And when we miscarried, I remember thinking I had a second chance. I really, really remember thinking that. And so when I got pregnant again, we had about like 4 to 5 months between, I would say about like 6 to 7 months between trying again and the miscarriage. And it was extended to 6 to 7 months because of the pandemic. We just want to make sure like nobody was turning into zombies, you know what I'm saying? And then we were gonna try again. Anybody out there that felt the same way in March of 2020? I felt like I did like the 60-day challenge, and I did it for me just to like learn what it was like to transition realistically from the New York City life to the Los Angeles life. Like, I'm not running around the subway anymore. I do have time to enjoy my meal with friends and maybe another cocktail. Now that I'm getting older, the cocktails don't like sit well anymore. Like, my relationship with red wine needs to end, and I still haven't broken up with her. And it just might always be that toxic relationship that she wakes me up at 4 a.m. And I haven't had red wine like that except once since Mercedes has been born, and like it still wakes me up. And like I'm like ding, wide awake, the sugar rush just like tidal waves in, and like I'm awake. So I don't really drink red wine anymore. The only red wine that doesn't hurt my head is Josh Cellars. So if you have that red wine woe like I do, try Josh wines. They actually make me feel not too terrible the next day. Anyway, I don't know how I got into wine. I was excited to get the green light to be able to move again at 6 weeks postpartum after a scheduled cesarean. And the first time I folded over into like in a postpartum yoga YouTube class from Postpartum and Pregnant TV. Shout out to all those people there, and thank you for all of your workouts that are like literally 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour options, so you can just like make it happen. I've talked about them in another blog before, but I think it's important to mention them again because they are fantastic, and there's always an excuse to just try to stretch or breathe and take a minute for yourself. And postpartum and pregnancy TV, or like the link is below. I remember the first time I folded over in a yoga like C-section safe class, and I bawled my eyes out. Like I literally was sitting there like crying, because moving my body is my identity. Like moving and stretching and breathing through movement. Like I'm a ballet dancer first. I have made that my career. I love to dance. I love to teach dance. And like moving together in a room has completely been stripped away from many of us. Even if you are a dancer or a yoga person or a fitness person, or you just like to go to a gym, you know, you just like to feel the community. It's something that I've missed, as well as protecting myself by being pregnant and not going back immediately March of 2021, you know, once numbers were getting better and vaccinations were happening. So I was still pretty isolated and very protective to not injure myself from a cesarean recovery. I was trying to not have to teach myself to be patient. You know, it's like every time there's an injury in my career, it's a relearning of patience, and that's just always so tough. And so humbling. And so I was being very protective of my body to not hurt myself or backtrack. So 6 weeks I folded over, cried, and then I stretched, and it felt so good to just like start remembering what it's like to move again without like a planet in front of me. I think like at 10 weeks postpartum, I decided to go back to my awesome class that is online, that basically like bursted out into the community of the theater people and the acting people, Cynthia Link's online classes. She has a jump rope exercise class. And for me, honestly, I don't see myself going back to a gym. Let me know if you are. Let me know if you're not going back to your gyms yet, because the at-home workout is so sustainable and affordable and less, in between going to the gym and getting dressed for the gym and all that. Like, I really have not missed that yet. But since I've had this permanent injury on my foot, I can't like run anymore or do like the treadmill, and I love to run, so I have to kind of just say goodbye to that part of my fitness life. So I was committed to the elliptical starting in like 2020, and that just takes so long, like an hour long. If you like the elliptical, tell me why, because I literally had to put on like an hour TV show on my iPad to keep myself there, because I just like, wow, takes forever. So jump roping really, really does the job. Literally in like 10 minutes, 5 minutes, like your heart rate is up much less. You are literally hitting yourself if you're doing the technique wrong. So maybe call me like a crazy masochist, because I love ballet class and I love how hard it is. And like, it's not always, your imperfection is your art. I think I love that part about jump rope. So Cynthia's class, I was super excited to get back to her class. Subscribe again. Now that I'm feeling better, I did a little bit of jump rope and some cardio and some I didn't do planks yet. And I was just doing like a lot of physical therapy exercises that my physiotherapist for pelvic floor the specialist for pelvic floor person in my life was giving me. And the next day, guys, back spasms. Back spasms. If you've had back spasms before postpartum, you know what I'm talking about. Like, either you were doing a workout or you were just back driving your car again, like some basic stuff was nearly impossible. Like, I've never had back problems like that. And if you have, I'm so sorry, because I really understand what it's like to literally be paralyzed on the floor and yelling, like screaming my head off and trying to breathe through it and crying, and just realizing that it's just as unfair as it felt to not be able to move my body yet. Because when I was jump roping for 2 minutes, literally 2 minutes, I was having this euphoric, like, adrenaline rush, and it just felt so good. It made me so happy. It made me feel like I could do anything. I was like, let's go for a walk after this. Probably pushed it with that too. And I did go onto social media and talked about it in my stories, and a lot of people were like, that happened to me too. Girl, be patient. No, your core's not ready. Your back is being, ignited, and it hasn't been like that in such a long time. So just take care of yourself. So I chose to accept that I had to relearn patience. It's not even like body image that bothers me about postpartum. It's the fact that I have to wait to be able to do things like I've done in the past or before I had a baby, like jump rope, or, jog up a flight of stairs without my hip hurting. And I'm 36 years old. I'm not like spring chicken over here. Things have changed. My body has changed, and it's changed, I know, for the better. I created a beautiful human, and she is lovely and so sweet and smiles at you every time you pick her up from her crib or for her pack and play. And so there's no animosity towards her, me, my husband. It's just taking deep breaths. I am now 17 weeks postpartum. It's been another 7 weeks of just stretching, talking to my physiotherapist about my, strengthening my pelvic floor, and talking through when the back spasms have reemerged. But I haven't worked out since, because I was kind of like scarred and wounded emotionally, and also like protecting myself to not miss it. Like, I had to literally separate myself from that. So if you're having like training or workout woes in your postpartum, you're not alone. And there's so many of us that understand how you feel, and it might feel like forever, but I'm at 4 months, and I'm leaning in towards the fact that every day with Mercedes goes by so quickly, and she's growing so quickly, so I'm also growing quickly enough for me to not be impatient with myself. So today's workout, I didn't jump. Instead of jumping jacks, I did side jacks, and anything that was like a lot of like lifting, I made sure to engage my pelvic floor and turn in my, not let my pelvis open, but just like kind of think like what my physiotherapist says is like, think of your hips like elevator closing and engaging your Kegel. And so I was focusing on that, and during crunches I was just doing like my little like Pilates things on my back and just like letting my leg extend out and in and feeling like I was part of a community, even if it was online, because the anxiety of being social again since having Mercedes is literally through the roof, and I'm not ready to exhale that much in front of people. You know what I'm saying? So before my husband's church live stream, I did that. And what was really fun is I was doing like, instead of like holding the plank and, doing like fancy plank things, I was just walking at my own pace, bear crawling, like my hands are at my toes, and then I walk to a plank, and then I walk back and just like lifting myself up, thinking about my pelvis and pelvic floor. And Mercedes was at the end doing tummy time. And I have to say, she is my child because she hates tummy time. Like, she's 4 months and still hates tummy time. And she was so entertained by what I was doing, and I would like to think that she loved the music and she loved the rhythm of it all and the energy that she heard Cynthia talking, have all of Cynthia's voice and her energy coming through Zoom. I even put my computer's like audio into our Alexa Bluetooth speaker, so it was like it totally surrounding the room. And I think because of our like dance moments that we sometimes do, I just sometimes I walk laps and dance with her and introduce her to like a famous artist. Like yesterday was Aretha Franklin. The other day was Elvis Presley, the Beatles, Britney Spears. So I always choose an artist like the day we get to dance together like that. And I think she's enjoying that so much that she tummy timed, you guys, for 45 minutes. Like, was happily watching me, chewing on her little toy, and just like not complaining or trying to force herself. She's learned how to turn herself back on her back. And so now it's this like challenge between her and me of who gets more time on their back or her tummy. And so she didn't try to like budge. So that was really enjoyable to watch her watch me, and we got to do it together. So while I was doing my bear crawls, I would go up to her and I put my knee down and I'd kiss her, and then I would crawl back up. So that's been like a nice thing. When it comes to anxiety, postpartum anxiety, exercise is so helpful for me. And what's hard about it is that I have to protect myself from re-injuring myself with my back. So it's a balance. And if you're experiencing that struggle or that balance, wherever you are in your journey when it comes to fitness and postpartum recovery, put it down in the comments below, because I have to say, every time I talk about it on my Instagram, about my journey and my postpartum work, especially with my body and my, can I help you? Every time I've shared my journey, there are so many comments with thank you for exposing this part of motherhood. Thank you for being honest about it, because I thought I was the only one. I wish I would have known 10 years ago when I had my third child that I had postpartum anxiety, instead of like, no, you're healthy, just take a nap, is what my doctor would say, like all those things. So share in the comments below, because we are not alone. And I'm very moved and motivated to continue sharing my journey. Also, if you're interested in hearing about Sling Fit, it is a fantastic online fitness program. I totally recommend a subscription. She does live classes. She also has like an on-demand program and does, I think, consultations still. Her name is Cynthia Link. The link will be down below. If you're wanting to know where this bra's from, it's from Target. The last little thing I'll say is go buy clothes that fit, and all the fitness stuff. Go buy clothes for your body now, because your body deserves it now, to feel good, look good, and get those girls in place so you can start jumping again. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's the blog entry today about postpartum anxiety journey. I'm Gabrielle. You can subscribe to my channel and also click the little bell for notifications. These are going to happen at least I hope to post one at least once a month to let you know how things are. And there will also be more on my Instagram, so you can find me there, Gabrielle Ruiz. And I hope you take a good breath today, and I hope you can do a fold forward when your body's ready and just cry, because you're doing great, mama.